The bottom line is, you know, what these kids are going to do. Football for most of them is going to be over after college, and now they got to. And you can't, you know, make it again. You get to the pros, that's a whole different level. Right. You know, there it is all about the money and everything. But everybody understands that. Right. But college, it shouldn't be that way. Yeah. You know, it shouldn't be that way. And it's getting to that. It's getting to that point when you have staffs that are 3 times the size of what pro staffs are, and everything else, and then you see some of these other things that are happening within the rules of the NCAA and intercollegiate football. To me, it's just wrong. And where are the adults and where are the people in charge making sure that this doesn't? Because that's not what's in the best interest of the student athlete, in my opinion. Not Randy Edsall, the UConn coach, but Randy Edsall, a former player, a coach, both left pros and NFL, NCAA, all that. These are just my own personal thoughts.
Who's making these? Are people that are just out of touch? I mean, who, you know what I mean?
The problem is you don't have people that are making the decisions who are in this arena every day.
And do they value your opinion at all?
Not a lot, because again, you're not in those, you know, you're not in those situations. And when you take a look, that when you have people from the institutions who make up the NCAA, who are trying to do their own job at the institution, and then they're trying to make decisions with the NCAA, how can you balance that when you have all those issues? And that's where I said there needs to be some structural change there in terms of the guidelines that go on, where people that are full-time can make those decisions. But that's not the way the NCAA is set up. And then in football, it's totally different, because the NCAA really doesn't have control other than from a management rule standpoint, because the FBS, the college football playoff system, really controls football and the dollars and all those sort of things, as opposed to like the NCAA with the men's basketball tournament and all those things.
Wow, what a mess.
Oh, there's some issues that will have to be dealt with as you continue to move down the road.
Yeah, the whole paying athletes, is that got any
I think,
along, or
well,
is that something?
I mean, there's been talk about, but I mean, when you take a look at the money, and this is what I said when I tweeted about paying the athletes. I mean, when I played, we played 10 games. You were done the week before Thanksgiving, so you could spend Thanksgiving with your families. Okay, you weren't at school in the summertime. You were home. You got a job. You worked or whatever, and you know, it was room, board, books, tuition, and fees. And now they went from 10 games to 11 games to 12 games to conference championships, okay, where you're there all summer long, okay, and up until 2 years ago, you know, you get cost of attendance, which it depends on the school, depends whether you're in state or out of state, but it's usually no more than 3,000, you know, for the year. And you know, with kids flying back and forth, and then you have TV games on every night of the, you know, certain conferences play Monday and Tuesday, and then some play Friday, and now you have more of a burden on the families to try to get there rather than playing on Saturdays, you know, and all this money that's being made, it's not going back to the people who are on the field. So the stipend should increase. The cost of living has gone up, you know.
So what, as a coach, what do you say to the kids if they come in there and have a fair point about that? Like, Coach, they're killing me. Like, well, how do you? That's another problem you got to deal with.
Well, I'm in support of the kids. Yeah. Because I agree, and again, being a former student athlete, and I'm on the side as a coach, and granted, I've benefited from it, but you know, the coaches' salaries are out of line compared to with the money that's come in. You know, it should go back, and I understand that, you know, people they talk about, well, you got to pay all that. Well, I'm not so sure you do. I mean, the people that are producing the money, you know, there's sometimes you got to draw the line somewhere. And you know, when you look at college athletics, between football, men's basketball, and women's basketball, those are probably the three. You know, in some places it might be hockey or whatever, depending on that. But those are the ones that you definitely got to take care of, because they're the ones that are out there producing, you know, that money. Yeah. But to me, something has to change. I mean, I'm surprised, and it's going to be interesting, because that one lawsuit's coming up here pretty soon, I think, that they allowed it to proceed, and it, in some point in time, it might get to the point where these kids are part of a union, or there's something that comes up, because when you take a look, you know, just like with people transferring whenever they want, everybody's backing and trying to do things there, because as soon as people say we're going to sue, everybody breaks down and allows things to happen. Like I said, if this transfer rule goes through where people can transfer and be eligible immediately, it's going to be the death of college athletics, in my opinion. It's free agency.
You're right, exactly.
You know, and I give you an example. I mean, if we have a great player, somebody that's really good, all right, other schools, especially, they can hire who they want. They're going to create a college scouting department where they're going to evaluate all the other players within the other colleges. And then if they see that there's a guy that's really good, they'll go a roundabout way to try to say, hey, we'd be interested in you. And then somebody, the kid, if they allow it to go where a kid can say, well, hey, I can come in and I have the right to go and explore my options to transfer. Well, some of the schools are going to get cherry picked. You know, so basically you've opened up free agency, but then you're not paying the, you know, you're not giving the players any money and all that. I mean, there's no
quick fix for
no,
this.
there's a lot of issues that are going to be, and you wonder, what are people thinking when they make some of these decisions? That's what gets me, because there's common sense.
Right. Logic is right out the window.
Yeah, I mean, and because of the way it is now, there's certain colleges that have over 50 people that are working for their football department, because they're part of a conference where they have that money to be able to do that. And so there's going to have to be something done, because that's what's got here. You go and develop these kids, and then all of a sudden somebody can come in and get word to them, hey, we want you here at our school, and then they can up and leave. I mean, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's professional. It's professional at the collegiate institutions, but nobody wants to come out and say anything.
Yeah.
You know, I had people tell me, other coaches get in touch with me, Coach, I'm glad you said what you said, because you said something that a lot of coaches believe in but are afraid to say it. Mm-hmm. You know?
And you don't worry about repercussions from anywhere coming down. I mean, it's just.
Why should I? Because it's what I believe in.
Yeah.
That's the problem with our society nowadays. You know, if you believe in something, stand up for it.
Yeah.
And if it's not right, it's not right, in my opinion. And like I said, I think I can talk intelligently from the standpoint, and also from an experience standpoint, because I've played the game, been an assistant coach, been a head coach, been an assistant in the NFL, and have seen it all. Mm-hmm. But don't sit here and tell us this is what we are and do something totally different. Yeah. Now, if you want to be that, then come out and say that. Don't be hypocritical.
Right. What's a fair amount for in your like? What would be a fair amount of money for the kids? Like football, you know, if you're talking about those three sports as, you know, helping create the most money.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what the exact number would be, but you know, I think if it was if you might have had like $5,000 a semester, $10,000 for the year, that would cover some of those things, because you're making all this money off the TV.
Right.
You know, you're putting it in coaches' salaries. Why can't you put it to the student athlete? They're the ones out there playing the game.
Because nothing's going up. Like they can only take so many trips home still, and they're still limited to what they can do. Obviously, right? So.
Oh yeah, I mean they can't. But there's only certain times that they can. And because what's happened is you're playing more games. They can't even get home. They can't even get home for Thanksgiving anymore. You know, and then some don't even get home for Christmas because of the bowl games. And different things along those lines. Wow. So, and then you know, you have them there in the summertime doing the same thing. So sometimes kids, people say, well, if they want to get a job, they can work and take a job, but if the job's going to interfere with them trying to work out, there's a lot of places that aren't going to let them do that. Yeah. So now they can't make money in the summertime.